Excuse me. How do you pronounce the name MONBEAU Afrique?
Let It All Out segment, I think, is to get to have a bit more of a personal interaction with the brand, with some of the people behind the brand, with myself. I'm always behind the scenes, so I thought, well, it's 2024, let's do something different and let's engage and start to talk to the community. You know, we are the started from the bottom, now we're here type. You know, it's that kind of engagement where, you know, there's the typical rags to riches. I mean, not rags at the extreme point of impoverished, but you know, we've had a tough upbringing. You know, my parents are great. They've, you know, supplied for us and given us an opportunity for us to go into the world and really express what we have and to express our potentials. That's from a family perspective. And so I've worked since I was about 18 years old. I'm a workaholic. I'm always working. So I've been broke many times. I have struggled. I've been a boss for a while, since quite a young age as well, since about 23 years old. So I've gone through many different experiences personally, but I've never not been able to work. And that's something that I said as a start. This is still to this day. I think that's the most important piece of information that drives this brand, is that for the first time in my life, I was not able to work and I was broke. Other times I've been broke and I'm like, okay, maybe I messed up. Maybe that was something that, you know, you're going through a life lesson and you're in the hustle and bustle, but you're in a situation where you don't know what to do. You don't know how to get yourself out of it. And that was a key pivot point in my life where I said, no matter what, I will never be in this position ever again. And so I'm in this situation. One of my mates had invited me to go overseas and work with them through the COVID period of time. And I wasn't sure at the time. We were busy building a store. We got red tape everywhere. You know, it's all red, right? Everything is crashing around me. People, so on and so forth, everything's just going wild, right? And so I'm almost wanting to run away. And my mate is giving me this door that I can run. And I delayed for 4 or 5 days. I was like, yeah, I got some stuff that I need to just close up before I come. But I was fully intent on going because I was in the stuck stage, couldn't work. You know, everything's just spinning around me. So I delayed for 4 or 5 days, and then the country that he was in, my very good friend, went into heavy lockdown. So I'm just like, okay, it'll be like a week and then I'll be able to come. And it was week 1, week 2, and nothing was happening. And then I got a phone call during this time, and I was going through a lot mentally, didn't know where to place myself, but trying to figure it out. And, you know, he's like, hey, Chase, this is Etienne. I've always wanted to work with you. So, you know, like, what's up, you know? And I was like, call me in a week. And in my head, I was like, I'm out, you know what I mean? So I'm like, call me in a week. I'm just delaying him, you know, just slowing him down. And, you know, still a week later, nothing's happening and I really don't know what to do. And then he calls me again and he's like, you know, so like, let's get to work. And I'm like, okay, I need to sort out things and we'll open up in a few days. So it was about a month and a bit that I was in lockdown. Then we decided, you know, as a unit that we're going to get to work. So I went and I opened up, set up the place, and he showed up to work. And so that's how that story began. I knew him previously. He knew me in my previous business, and he's known me for a while. And so we started working together in the level 4 lockdown. They had tape even around clothing. It was just like essentials, etc. So that's where that started. A bit of a backstory behind that, and then we started to develop. Just get to work every single day, put in the hours, put in the work. We had our PPE goods there, our little masks. We'd stash some cleansers underneath the cupboard, and. Customer, would you like a mask? The customer's busy buying a mask. Hey, what are you using for your skin? For the pimples underneath, the clogging, etc. So, we started to develop from that, and then we moved. We started to recover, got into the fragrance game a little bit, got into manufacturing of the fragrances, and the story continues from there. So there's the backdrop of how we started to build out in the people, etc. And, but we're 100% a COVID story. And the key element that I will pull out from this story is that it was that moment where I realized that I couldn't work. I was broke and I didn't know what to do. And since that moment, I have approached every single thing as if it's the last meal. So that has changed the courage, that has changed the viewpoint, that has changed the approach to everything. And that has really driven the strategy and the concept of how it is that we've built up the brand from this point onwards. This is Etienne, and I think, Etienne, we're establishing this is a new segment of MONBEAU Afrique.
Right.
We're always bringing new things to the table. So this is a segment, Let It All Out. And let's chat it out.
Sure.
Introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Etienne. I joined a Chase after COVID, and we started building MONBEAU, which changed to My Beauty. Initially, now we officially calling it MONBEAU.
It's had a few names, huh?
Yeah. No, actually, before MONBEAU, we...
How many names? 5 names? 6 names?
Somewhere there.
Something like that, right?
MONBEAU, from MONBEAU, Chanel, and then now it's MONBEAU Afrique. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
It actually started as My Beauty.
Yeah.
And that's where we from the previous time into the new segment, it was My Beauty.
Yeah.
Then it then became My Beauty Afrique.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There was the aesthetic center first, right? So it was My Beauty Cosmetics Center.
Yeah.
Then it was MB Cosmetics.
Yeah. And My Beauty SA.
And then no, that was the actual entity,
the
entity name.
Yeah, it's the name.
So the trading names, it was My Beauty, MB Cosmetics. Then we did My Beauty Cosmetics Center.
Great.
Then we updated it to My Beauty Afrique when we brought in the fragrances.
Yeah.
Then it became MB Afrique when we started to do the apparel.
Great, yeah.
And then 2023, then it came full circle, MONBEAU and then MONBEAU.
Yeah, then MONBEAU.
So it's had a few different name changes. I think a lot of the customers, have tried to understand what's this place called, but it's had a few name changes, yeah. What's MONBEAU? What does MONBEAU mean to you? You know my style, and you know how it is that I approach things. So I'm more interested in understanding what is MONBEAU to you, because you're definitely a core part of the journey.
MONBEAU, actually, it's the translation of My Beauty to a French name, which is MONBEAU. It's MONBEAU Afrique, so now it's MONBEAU Afrique, which is just a translation from MONBEAU Afrique to
My Beauty, my beautiful Africa.
Yeah, beautiful Africa. Yeah.
And the idea behind, so I'll tell you, from my perspective, I have always wanted to do something. So I'm a fan of excellence. I love anybody who's a top performer who is always pushing their boundaries. You got your Michael Jordans, you got your Usain Bolts, the people, your Steph Currys, the people who are always breaking into the next category of what is potentially possible within their fields.
Yeah.
And particularly MONBEAU, the idea behind it for me was I've always felt that I have a skill set that I want to compete against the best, so that I know how good how good I go, you know, from my own perspective. And being African and being from Africa, you know, there are the limitations that I think everybody is aware of to their degree. But instead of using that as a crutch, or instead of saying, this is the excuse for why I did not manage to go beyond, it actually became the point of inspiration that we do it from Africa and go to the world. Because then it lays the path for those who don't understand how to do it. It's the 4-minute mile to see that first you don't believe it can be done, and then once somebody breaks it, it opens up the space for others to do the same. And the idea for creating this brand was to create a space that we could bring people inside, that they themselves were able to contribute and add to the space and create something that then it's not a one-man show. You know, it's the saying, it takes a village, right? You know, it requires a lot of people to get something like this done, and so it's to inspire first the people that we work, you know, together with, and then together we are able to then drive that vision to inspire other people to be able to do the same. You know, and that's where Built by Desire, which is the slogan, it's everything has been created by desire. You know, where I met you from. You know, like you want people to know, you know, you're a barista.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so he was a barista. You know, used to make coffee, right? And you know, then from a desire of wanting to grow in your own life, that's how it is that our engagement began. And because you reached out, and you know, I don't know if I have told you this before, but it was because you reached out to me. And you're like, I've known you. I know that, you know, especially in this time where everything seems crazy and everything is going wrong in the world, I know that the right person to work with is you. And it was that actually reminded me who I am and what I believe in, you know. So I'm like, okay, he remembers something, you know, sometimes we forget, right? And so when we then came out every single day, I had to make sure that I was bringing it, because no matter what, even though in that position I had nothing, you still believed in something. And this is what this is all about. It's about creating that that kind of space that inspires people and lifts people up and takes people from wherever it is that they start from to the next stage in their life. And that's the experience that I found. You know, we've managed to build, and obviously, you know, through your experiences and through your additions as well, and the people that you've brought in, and the amount of effort and time and work that you put inside, I think, you know, that culture has definitely been able to grow from there.
What's the inspiration? What was going on in your mind? Just, I always want to ask you that question, to build a brand. Like building a brand, because it's crazy where we are right now, you know.
I think the idea of a brand, we all have a skill set, something that makes us unique, right? And for me, I've always wanted my skill set to shine not through me as an individual, but through the work that I do. And so creating a brand basically was an outlet that I could push the level of excellence that I have the ability to push without making it about me. Because we're trying to build a vision. I'm not trying to create a fan base. You know, it's not about me, right? So in the end of the day, the inspiration was to create an environment that other people could also contribute and grow. And so what is the best way to do so? You know, you can do many different things, but initially it started as a sales company. You know me, I'm all about sales, right? Make the money first, right? Now, still today, make the money first. You know, don't let me get on a phone call with 100%. You at midday, right? So it's always about, okay, first we make the money.
Yeah.
After you make the money, then you gotta do something with it.
Yeah.
And so the usage of the money that we make through sales, first have a sales system,
Great.
have a system that works, then let us express the ideas in a framework that still keeps us on a path, but allows people to contribute to that path.
Yeah.
And it's that collaborative effort that I think is very important because, you know, I'm always like, well, what do you think? Or I discuss ideas with yourself. I'm always like, okay, this is what it is that I'm thinking, this, that. You know, you give the feedback, and through that feedback, it helps us then go forward. I'm the custodian of the brand. I'm the custodian of the money, of the operation, of the system. But the system is not me. The system is the people inside of it. Yeah. And you know, I mean, you got more exposure to the customers than I do. Yeah. You know, you got more exposure to the people who work inside the business than I do. Yeah. A lot of the time, a lot of the people inside the greater scheme of the business. So that the inspiration was to be able to have a community that we could follow a vision and a mission, but people can contribute to it. Yeah. And that's why it came out as a brand. Yeah. Also, I mean, if we're just here to make money, there's other ways to do it. You know what I mean? A brand there's the complexities of it all that, you know, I'm sure I don't want to bore people with the ideas of the headaches that comes with running a brand. But again, it gives us a vehicle for us to be able to communicate a united message, but with a singular focus.
Because it's really hard to choose this kind of jobs. What's the excitement behind that? Like doing skin care and fragrances. Why not something different? You know, like why involving yourself into that? You know,
I think from the name My Beautiful Africa, the idea was to showcase the most beautiful parts of Africa. Yeah. And from a global front, people can have a limited understanding or viewpoint of Africa as a whole. It can be, first of all, the environment. It can be of the capability of the people. Yeah. It can be of a lot of different things for 1,001 reasons that we don't even need to get into. So My Beautiful Africa is to show the best of Africa. Yes. And then to bring it to the world standard and to say, we are competing at a global front. Yeah. It's not just France with luxury goods. It's not just the US with the luxury goods. Great. Africa also has it. You know, Japan has got amazing stuff. Great. People may never go in that direction, so they don't know. Yeah. So I feel like it's our duty to educate the global front of what we have here. Yeah. And then to obviously, you know, compete against the best. Outside, yeah. Right. Well, I mean, the sourcing from outside, of course, you know, with the oils, etc. We can get into that a little bit later. But great. Bringing it all together as a melting pot of where we get our materials from, our ingredients from, etc. Is one element of it all. But it's not about that. More about us showcasing the best of Africa. And so, great. My Beautiful Africa is that MONBEAU Afrique, right? Sure. And the people, the ideas, the feeling. You know, even if we go into the details of the names of how certain, you know, beauty, why beauty? Okay, well, aesthetically, we have to take care of ourselves. Great. Right? So it's become a main part of our day-to-day. How we present ourselves is very important. So take care of how we look. Yeah. That's the cosmetics, the outer. Then fragrance, the smell, you know. That's, you know, a whole different ball game in itself. Yeah, yeah. Then apparel, we wear clothes every single day. So it's actually a one-stop shop for all things that encapsulate how people take care of themselves, people's self-confidence, people's how they present themselves to the outer world. There's a complexity to it all that is not just at the surface level. Yeah. It does go deeper. Yeah. And so we're on that journey with each individual at different levels. Somebody's like, no, I don't really take care of how I look, you know. You know me, I'm always looking dusty, right? I don't care how I look most of the time. No haircuts or whatever. I cleaned up a little bit for this, but you know, from the ideology of where it is that it comes from, okay, we don't all do the same things, but there's a way that we can take care of ourselves better. And in this expression, there are certain things that I will use, even if I don't necessarily take care of my outer look. Great. All the time. And so it gives everybody a medium for them to be able to engage with different parts of the business at a different level.
Yeah. Well, working with you personally, the things that I've learned, it encouraged me, and the vision, as we spoke in the very beginning, the vision is what dragged me into being part of this beautiful brand, and with the transition of where I came from and what I was doing before, I learned something new. For me, something new excites me even more. The amount of effort, the knowledge that you invest into me, it's something, it makes me better. And with that, it feeds me, and it builds me to build the people also around me. As we started before, you told me, we're going to do this, and after that, you need to build a team.
Right.
You need to build a team,
right.
And that's going to be your responsibility.
Right.
That was not my responsibility.
That's correct, yeah.
And you're trying to download more information into me, and every single day we're talking about America. That was like 3 years back.
Right.
We're talking about America. You're like, no, we're gonna open this, we're gonna do that.
Right.
And I was like, are you crazy?
Cooked, huh?
Like, how are you gonna do that?
Right.
Like, we're here, we got nothing, we don't have the right things, but how are you gonna do America? And man, I was like, okay, I believe him because I know him. I know the guy, I know him. He's passionate about what he's doing.
Right.
And it drags me into that, and with that knowledge, as I say.
It's an important thing that you actually said that, because that's something that a lot of people, unless you directly work inside this environment, you will never know.
Yeah.
Is that most of the actual effort is improving the individuals.
Right.
There's that saying where it says, what if we invest in the people and they leave?
Great.
And then they say, and then the response is like, what if we don't invest in them and they stay?
Great.
And so the whole idea has always been, again, from the biblical times or readings, teach a man how to fish. Rather, you can fish for a man. You can give a man a fish,
yeah,
and feed him for a day. You can teach him how to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime, right?
Great.
And so it's that concept of investing into the individuals, because I can only, I'm the world's greatest salesman. I can only sell to one person at a time. You know what I mean? I'm the best. It's not about one individual. So if I were to make it a focus about trying to serve me, we can only go so far, right? Again, another saying, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go, far, go together, right? So it's about investing in the individuals, and you know how many times I'm sending videos of inspiration, motivational, something that I see, something that I read, something that I learn. I'm going to come bring it to you, because you need to give it to the next person. And through that passing of knowledge and that passing of experience, first of all, it makes your journey a lot shorter than mine.
Right.
So what took me 10 years to do, you are able to do in 3-4 years, and what took you 3-4 years to do, the people that start today, they're able to do it in a year, right? So we are compounding as a unit. And now we have, how many people? 60, 70, 80 people? I don't know how many people are working.
That's a lot.
There's a lot of people that work in MONBEAU.
Yeah.
And each person is part of the compounded experience. And so when I said we're going to get to America, it wasn't because I assumed that, we were going to get there through my ability. It's if we're able to create a compounded system where each person is building into the next person, it then allows us to be able to get to what seems like an impossible goal, or something that is difficult to get. And that's why I said build a team.
Great.
Which is where it is that you actually started with Elvis, right?
Great.
And where you went and found Elvis and you said, okay, great,
He was a tough guy to get to
this is my guy, yeah. He was playing hard to get Elvis.
It was a nightmare just to bring him along,
Right.
Yeah.
So it's through that experience that we're able to actually achieve what it is that we achieve. And of course, with our consumers, which we can get to a little bit later.
Great. I might say you have a great ability, I say, as a leader, for you to have that vision and have those information in advance to share it. It's very deep, just to transmit, the information and to build. How many fragrances have you built so far, though?
What do we have, like 15 fragrances?
Great.
Which is your favorite?
Sabella, of course.
Sabella. This is Sabella.
Yeah.
That one. That's definitely our all-time killer, Sabella.
Yeah, great. that transition was really amazing. I don't know if you remember about it.
Yeah. Well, there's a longer story to how, you remember bringing in the other brand and, and then, experiencing that and then seeing the engagement and then starting to manufacture.
Yeah.
The idea behind the fragrances actually was, the first 7 names, if you remember, they're actually named after the top destinations in Africa. So
I think you should tell us more about that, actually.
There's this Seduce de Sus.
Great.
That's the one and only in Cape Town.
Great.
There is La Oberoi, which is the Oberoi in Mauritius.
Yeah.
Beautiful destination. There is, Dalle Domains, which is named after the Dalle Graaf estate in Western Cape.
Yeah.
Beautiful wineland out there. With the different names, it was actually trying to showcase that when people see Africa, they need to see the most beautiful parts of Africa.
So you pulled the name from the different places in Africa.
Name the places after these destinations that when people look into it and understand it, they see, wow, this is beautiful. Where is this? This is in Africa. This is crazy, right? Kratia Tanzania, the Tanzanian crater hotel in Tanzania, right? So different names. The first 7 were named after that. Sabe Le Sable was named after Sabi Sands.
Great.
Which is, the game reserve, got the big 5 there, beautiful place. Yeah. And so that's how these names initially came about. Yeah. Then after that, we then started going into some of the elements like gold, Bordeaux, elements and resources that come out of the ground of Africa, Pierre d'Argent, so we started then building out there, and then, of course, just for control, we had to give something for the bosses, so that's where...
La patronne.
La patronne.
Yeah, la patronne.
Right. It's actually supposed to be le patron. Some people may think that, our French is dusty, but it was actually La Patronne. It was named La Patronne, so it was more of an inclusive thing that there's feminine and male aspect to it.
Great.
But also something different, it's just because something is supposed to be a certain kind of way. I think that's also something that makes us, it tells a lot about different things within the brand.
I got one client from France, is like, mais tu vends quoi? Je vends la patronne, c'est féminin.
Right.
C'est pas féminin. C'est masculin, c'est unisexe.
Right.
With the French,
They're specific, huh?
Yeah, 100%.
They think that we didn't do so well in school, huh?
Yeah.
That's why we got you here, just for control,
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Well, that journey, it's crazy for you to, I don't know if you sleep because you have so much information.
Right.
Since I've known you have something new every single day. Every single day there's something new. Every day.
Right.
Today is this one. As we're working, I don't know how many times we shift the
2.5 centimeters to the left, right?
Yeah, just to get the beauty out of the location where we were before, just to...
It has to work.
To be where we are. I don't know, just tell us more, how did you get your inspiration? Because it's very important to know about it,
Again, my number one thing is always that things need to work. And there's a Japanese phrase, it's called kanai. Constant and never-ending improvement.
Yeah.
And if you keep improving, you will always be better than what you were yesterday, even if you fail forward, right? Yeah. So it's about constantly improving on the small detail.
Yeah.
There's you can hear from a great golfer. It's the few millimeters. So when you hit that ball and your club is open by just a few millimeters, it changes where the ball flies to and where it ultimately lands.
Great.
So at a certain level, we can do the basic things and we can start working at a basic level, but it's always those small, fine improvements that change the ultimate destination of where it is that the ball is going to land.
Yeah.
And so, again, that's where it's about. It's about that constant, never-ending improvement that we're always learning. We're students of the world. We're students of the consumer, what the consumer wants. We're students of the people who work inside the environment. We're students of the time, of the period where we're at in life. And so we always just need to keep on improving so that we, A, give the customers the best experience, and B, we give ourselves the best opportunity for us to be able to succeed.
Great. I will still on there.
You've been in charge of building the sales team and working with the people and the individuals.
Yeah.
You obviously have your day one,
Great.
because for those who know me, you know that I'm not an easy person to work with.
Yeah.
Right? As you said, there's always something new every single day, and I think a lot of people can struggle with that constant updating.
Okay.
That is, people want stability, so you're trying to figure it yourself out, and then there's something new, and there's something new, and there's something new,
Yeah.
right? So obviously, I know that is not necessarily the easiest experience that you could. That it's not the easiest experience for you to deal with, but you've worked quite a while now with Elvis. Elvis has been there since what, month 2?
Yeah,
And from building with him, what has your experience been with him? And tell us a bit about Elvis, because I think Elvis is, we have obviously Privilege, the legend, but
the legend.
there's Elvis, and Elvis is going to join us shortly. So just tell us a bit about that briefly, in terms of what your experience has been and the journey with him from your perspective.
Yeah, Elvis, I know him back in the day. He's a very, very great guy. He has passion of what he does, and he does it so well if you give him the time to do so. He's a very difficult person to deal with, but if you understand him, how he likes things, because he likes things to be in a certain way,
Right.
He likes things in a certain way, so he's a great guy, the first day I met him with a small coffee like this.
Right.
Yeah, he's waiting for me there, and then I greeted him, and we started talking.
Right.
Just the way he presents himself, the look, the presentation, that's everything.
Right.
And yeah, from there, and then I knew this is a great guy, And unfolding, I just know he's a great guy. It's difficult to deal with, but
Right.
yeah.
Well, we're going to bring Elvis on,
Great.
just to have a quick chat with him.
Yeah.
And let's explore a little bit further. Elvis, how's it going? All good.
Fantastic.
All right. Elvis,
do
Elvis
this.
is our sales manager of MONBEAU Afrique, and he is part of the key soldiers that we have done this battle with. We've walked the journey. I think, obviously, I have my personal relationship with Etienne and how it is that, I relate to him. There's Privilege, who's behind the scenes. Privilege, who's been with us for, 10
Over a
years?
decade, yeah.
Yeah, Privilege has been with us for 10 years, where I've also got my personal relationship with him. And, you're somebody who's come into the story, and you've come in from the outside.
Sure.
But over time, you have become such a core part of what we do. And so I'm actually interested to understand your journey.
Sure.
I know we've had some rough times,
100%.
as it should be,
that's
because
supposed to happen.
it's tough love, but always ready. Something I've noted about you is that you don't give up.
No.
And you take hits. Sometimes it takes you, some time to onboard certain ideas or learn certain things, but you just keep fighting.
For sure.
And you have earned my respect over the years simply because as much as you are difficult in certain elements, which I wouldn't even call it difficult, I say specific in certain elements.
Yeah.
And sometimes you are a little bit resistant to certain ideas and certain change points in the beginning. Once you decide to do something, you just do it.
Sure.
And we definitely have grown so much with your contribution and your effort. And so I actually want to know a bit of the journey I would like to learn from you and to understand how it is it's been for you.
Fantastic. Thank you for the stage. So
Right.
I think, getting into the genesis of how we really got to be where we are. If you have to look at where we started, you know, it was a very small little kiosk, and getting a call from A10, and I wasn't even too sure what he was calling me for, right? But he said, listen, it was COVID, I had nothing, and he said, come through, just explore, you know. I came through, and I also was a little bit dizzy because I didn't understand the model itself, you know, but you came in 2 hours, you were bearing gifts, you were bearing some paper bags, always innovative, you know. And I think,
something, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think what really moved me more than anything is when you explained the model, because I always thought that I was the greatest. You know, I remember at the time with my ex, after I had that conversation with you, I was like, I'm no longer the greatest. This guy is the guy. Because how you explained everything, and you broke it down, who we are, where we're going, and what it really means to engage with the client. And sometimes it's not really about how great the product is, but the client buys in you, they buy in your confidence, you know, they buy in your body language, and that's how you build that camaraderie, you know,
100%. I think,
with the client.
I think, you know, and actually I'd like you to speak a bit on this, is what you're saying is such an important point, because a lot of people may not understand certain things and why we do certain things in a certain way.
Absolutely.
And you came from an outside perspective, and you had to adapt to some of these new approaches of why it is that we're doing something in a certain kind of way, why it seems like we don't necessarily do that perfectly, but we still are upholding a certain standard for ourselves, etc. And through that experience, you know, obviously there are the things that we've had our challenges with, you know, product-wise, in the development stage. I mean, you came when it was just a kiosk.
100%.
Was it with grass? Was it the
Well,
grass?
It was grass, yeah, it was green grass. The black and the green.
It was the black.
It was the black with a touch of green at the back.
Those tiles from builders,
tiles,
from
100%,
builders, right?
100%.
Those connect me tiles, right?
For sure.
From builders, and that's where it came from. So you came from an outside perspective, and obviously I'm explaining something to you, and you're taking that on. But you're still looking at this environment that does not match it doesn't match the speech.
100%.
The speech is better than the environment.
The environment, yeah.
So how does that? How do you engage with that element? Because the speech is the truth. But such an important part is that authenticity does not in any way relate to perfection.
Absolutely.
That's actually what authenticity is about.
100%.
And you have to be confident in what it is that you're doing and still accept that you're not perfect. And we were far from perfect, but the authenticity of what we stood for has stood since day number one. So
100%.
how is that for you, and how did you get over that element where there was a mismatch, but the reality was there?
So I think that's a great question, because what I also had to realize was there was a lot that I knew, and this was a different model of business, and I had to unlearn and relearn something new. And I understood that what's the most important thing, it was belief. It was the right attitude. And it was culture. Because the belief was great. The mindset was strong, it was sharp, you knew exactly what you wanted and where you wanted us to go. But when I looked at the environment, it was the opposite. You understand? But I believed the moment you spoke for that 20 minutes, I said, this is what I want.
It's crazy. The things that you just mentioned, those are actually falling right into our pillars, is that you said the belief.
Absolutely.
Faith, that's our key pillar, right?
100%.
Hard work, that's the attitude, right?
Absolutely.
You know, so these are things that actually tie in, you're saying, with the culture.
Absolutely.
But the things that have actually led up to what you're saying is the culture is the pillars that we actually aligned to, right?
100%.
And so seeing something that's not there, that's what faith is, right?
Absolutely.
But hard work is we work as hard as we do because it's about precision, right?
100%.
We still need to get to where we're going.
Absolutely.
Else, what are we doing, right? So tell me, from that, now you come inside, right? You engage into this new system. Just tell us a bit about your journey over the last three and a half years.
So,
from the customer, from your personal.
100%.
You know, like, just give us a little bit of frame to that experience and how that growth has evolved, and you've evolved with the brand as it's come along.
All right. So from the very first beginning, it starts with the client, right? Because with my experience, I've always served customers who were looking for something. Right? It wasn't me introducing something to a client. So the model of the business showed me that you're not the greatest until you not only convince, but you make it important and you create a need for a client
Right.
at the specific time. Because the model, it was not people coming into us.
Right.
We were bringing people to the brand. We were introducing people to the brand.
Right.
There was a story, there was a functionality of the product, and how could it better their lives. That was the first element that changed me.
Right.
You understand? Is to building that trust with the client.
Well, I mean, that's life.
Absolutely.
A lot of people misunderstand that as a point of saying, well, okay, if you're luxury or if you're, there's all these tags, right, that
Sure.
frame what we should do if you're that.
100%.
But if you don't know something, you will never know it unless you're introduced to it.
Absolutely.
It works the same in relationships. You have to approach and engage people.
100%.
Right? Open it up, let people see what it is that we have to offer. So
100%.
that being that, we're just following the principles of life, and that a lot of people misunderstand that about the business. Why do you have to reach out to us?
Yeah.
Well, how else are we going to do it?
You understand?
Right.
For sure.
Okay.
So that was the first element, right?
Right.
And the second one is, and it is the truth, it was really difficult.
Right.
In COVID time, what we were really selling was not a necessity at all.
Right.
So that in itself built a resilience.
Right.
Because there was no alternative.
Right.
We were here. We had our indifferences and our conflicts, but the next day we were here.
Right.
We wanted the same thing.
Right.
And without us knowing, actually, that was the culture being born.
Of course.
And I think throughout, as we scaled as a company, that's what we've instilled
Right.
to everybody else. It doesn't matter what problems we have today.
Right.
Tomorrow, we have to complete the mission.
Right.
So the journey, as hard as it was, and we've evolved.
Right.
It wasn't simultaneous.
Right.
It was sequential. We did cosmetics, we did fragrance, we stopped. We brought new fragrances that were great.
Right.
And it was like, okay, cool, what's working, what's not? What's working, let's scale that. And then we brought bags, and then we brought, appeal.
Right.
And I think that also has completely evolved the company to something mysterious. That I think we didn't see it coming.
Well, the culture in itself it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Sure.
And the fact that if we continue to push to the next step and to use faith and hard work,
Yeah.
and to use the fact that we don't know all things, but it's useful for us to try and to fail
100%.
forward and to be courageous and to explore an idea and to every day we start from zero.
Yeah.
Now, in sales, that is the most important thing that you need to learn in the beginning, is that you start from zero every single day. But that's actually where you build your strength from.
100%.
And once you build that strength, then you have the ability then to do everything else, right?
Sure.
So in the end of the day, it's about that, building that strength so that we actually have the capability to truly then bring a quality and a beautiful experience expressively, but always remembering that it's the principles, right,
Yeah.
that drive anything in life.
100%.
And hard work, you will start from zero. When you go to the gym, whatever I said to you, it's like 100 kg does not become less heavy when you're strong enough to push it.
Sure.
You're just able to take the pain,
100%.
right? So you just have increased your threshold to being able to push more. But 100 kg is still heavy, even if you can carry it. And that's the same thing in the culture, even with the expansion. How it is that we've expanded? A lot of people say, well, we expanded quickly. You had some of those issues as well.
Yeah.
Where you're like, no, why is Chase doing this? Why are you opening up another place, etc.? And I'm like, you need to understand that we are doing this because anyway, we came from nothing. We came from a point that there was nothing. So when we push to the next step, it's there because we are pushing to where we're going rather than connecting to where it is that we've come from. But we're never
100%.
forgetting that.
100%.
Right? And that principle is why it is that we're pushed beyond certain borders,
Yeah.
because it's the culture,
Absolutely.
right? And the more that culture is able to expand into the individuals, and then we bring the customer around on that journey, that's the reason why certain things we have not been perfect on,
Yeah.
but we still continue to push in that direction because we're bringing the customer around in the experience.
Customers don't really know what they want until you show them.
Right.
Right. So
Some
some, of
customers.
course. Some, of course.
Put some respect on this.
All right. So
Yeah.
one of the main things that have allowed us to scale, but at the same time prevented us to grow exponentially as we wanted to is customers want a story. So when they purchase,
Right.
they want a full packaging.
Right.
They want to show what they bought, and they want to share that
Right.
with their audience, because everybody has an audience, right?
Right.
So one of the difficulties that we've faced is selling, for instance, a Lapatron,
Right.
which is 10,500, but we do not have a cylinder with
Right.
it. And that has been
At
a
times.
painful,
Right,
at times,
right, right.
you know, a painful thing to
Right.
them. And we faced it as well as a team.
Right.
You understand? And speaking in behalf of a client, because my job is to serve the client
Of
before
course.
I could serve the board.
Of course.
So those are the most difficult issues that I've faced. And what's your thought on it?
It comes back to the point of the culture.
Yeah,
If you want to, where you come from,
Sure.
you come from a place where you started from where it is that you're at.
Yeah.
And we had to connect to that. We had to get on the same page for us to go forward together.
100%.
So it's like we start on a kiosk and the customer's like, why don't you have a shop?
Yeah.
Right? And so the customer wants us to have a shop in order for them to feel like, okay, we're going to be there tomorrow. You know, there's the elements that obviously, from a customer's perspective, that all makes sense.
Yeah.
But you have to have a system that works in order to have a shop.
Yeah.
Because if we open a shop and we don't have a system that works, that shop will not survive.
Sure.
So we're always dealing with the chicken egg situation with every component of what it is that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
You know, you're speaking about the product, right? So even if you have an experience which is not complete, the community still exists.
Yeah.
You know, through the amazing amount of customers who have bought from us over the years.
Sure.
Which we're so grateful towards them, right?
Absolutely.
And so we are, again, establishing a luxury brand out of Africa, which means that we have our shortcomings, we have our limitations, we have the things and the tools that other first world countries may have.
Absolutely.
We're already starting from a back foot. And if anybody's going to grow from that kind of environment, you have to be extremely resourceful.
Yeah.
Right? Day one principles always, right? Amazon, day one principles, right? It's just you're always acting as if this is day one.
Sure.
Act as if we don't have and be as resourceful as possible. So our job is to complete the vision. And it's not that people will understand us along the way. It's that we survive enough of a period of time
Yeah.
that people then get to understand where it is that we're going. Because even we can't sit there and explain the vision to every single individual, right?
Yeah.
And so they experience what they experience. But it's that constant improvement that when they come tomorrow and they see, okay, something else has been done, we keep it adding on, we keep on pushing, we're still there. It's COVID, we got big international brands which are closing all around us.
Yeah.
And yet we're still operating from that kiosk and we're still pushing, right? That's where the customer, that's actually where the community starts to connect to us. And you've seen that.
Yeah.
Is that we survived long enough that then people then decided, let us get to know what's actually going on.
100%.
And that is actually the truth of how, in my opinion, how from a disadvantaged position,
Yeah.
you're able to still get yourself into the highest echelons of where it is that you can compete at.
Yeah.
Because you remember, you're not coming from the same place that somebody else is coming from.
Sure.
So we stay authentic to where we're coming from. And the fact that we got to make every rand, every dollar, every cent, we got to make that count for 10.
Sure.
So because we never forget that, we have to deal with all the different components and understand that, okay, some things are a priority and some things are a future priority that we'll still invest to. But it's not out of a negligence to the customer. It's not out of a negligence to anybody. It's actually, that's the way that we'll continue to improve and bring customers better products and better experiences. That's been the way. So it's a misunderstood concept, but it's like various different malls where we want a store, right?
Sure.
And then they say, well, you have to be an international brand for us to even consider giving you a store.
Sure.
But if we are not given the position from the point of an African within a mall that we're trying to get a store, and they want us to have such a high standard of entry for us to be able to enter there, it obviously makes it a lot more difficult for us to actually get there.
Yeah.
So we've had to deal with our different hurdles and our different experiences to be able to continue serving the vision, to give the customer the best experience, and as well to uplift all the individuals that we want to uplift along the way. It's not an easy task what we're trying to achieve.
Absolutely.
So it's just about trying to deal with all the different components and then make it all work. And that's, to the consumer, that's always a message that maybe they don't get to experience or to get to hear from us, but that's what it's really about. It's not about the cylinder.
Yeah.
I wish to give every single customer everything perfect every single time. And we strive to do that better every single day.
Absolutely.
But we were not arriving at the table and said that we're perfect. We arrived at the table and said, we're building a vision. And the fact that the consumers still continue buying from us is why it is that we push so hard for the consumers to give them better experiences and as well to invest their money. Because
Absolutely.
I see the consumers and our customers as investors to the vision.
More than anything.
Part of the community, that's what we're here to do. So we keep on investing and they keep on buying. And that relationship is something that we obviously continue to foster and to improve what we can from them.
I want to start with commitment. Right? I think it's the most important thing more than anything. You can't go far without commitment. The way that you've shown commitment to us
Yeah.
is the same way I and ATN have shown commitment to the team.
Right.
Right. I think in the beginning it was always about revenue first.
Right.
And we've kind of pivoted from that to say, okay, cool, team first.
Right.
And then the customer will take care of the revenue.
Right.
Right. Because I believe the hardest thing that we had to do was to build a foundation.
Right.
By far.
Right.
Because it needed commitment, it needed the right attitude, it needed the right culture.
Right.
It needed to be focused and knowing that there isn't a B or C.
Right.
There's just one plan and we're going forward with
Right.
it.
Plan A is the only plan.
You understand?
Right.
So I think that's the reason that we've been able to grow so quick, because there wasn't any other plan.
Right.
It was one thing, you
Right.
know? And the future vision for what I have personally for my beauty is not only to be local, but to continue scaling globally.
Right.
You know, I believe that the world hasn't seen what we offer,
Right.
and everybody deserves to experience
Right.
my beauty.
Right.
Because we've grown with our clients from being a cosmetics to fragrance, to
Right.
bags, to clothing. And as much as they might be pissed off of the fact that we don't have a cylinder or certain things, but they've enjoyed the
sorry,
journey
guys.
with us.
I'm sorry.
You know,
Okay.
you know,
We'll
but
get
they've
to the
enjoyed 100%. You know, what really
We'll sort you
pisses
out.
them
We're
off.
going to make it sweet for you.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah. What pisses them off, I think, is the ROI that we've been with you guys for the longest of time. Why you still haven't perfected this one?
Right.
But as you said, it will be perfected.
Right.
And I think growing with the client and always bringing something new to them has brought loyalty.
Right.
And it's the same thing that we could do locally. It's the same thing that we could do globally.
Right.
You know. So yeah.
I think the most important thing to understand is that we have never pretend to be what we're not.
Absolutely.
And I don't want you to be me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be you. And I don't want it to be X brand. We are ourselves. Again, that's authenticity, right?
Absolutely.
So being transparent and open about that and coming from where it is that we're coming from and still pushing through is actually, it's part of our principles, right? It's part of our foundation. So I want everybody to be themselves and to have their opinions, etc. I don't want everyone to have my opinion or a viewpoint that's going to please my ears.
Yeah.
It's about understanding how do we improve, and we take the information, we take the data rather, and we turn it into information.
Sure.
And then through that information, then we create products and we create experiences and we go to work every single day and we train and we engage our team through that information that we've translated
Yeah.
to our understanding based on our principles, based on how we look at the world.
Yeah.
And then how we want to bring that to the consumer.
Sure.
And we hope that we are able to connect to them in a way that they understand that we are doing it on the principles that we are who we are, but we are creating for them.
Yeah.
So that they can have an experience and share that experience and find a commonality between ourselves, you know, aspiration, inspiration. Those are the elements that basically this brand is about. That's what MONBEAU Afrique is.
Yeah.
It's about an aspirational brand, but it's about an inspirational brand. The aspiration is obviously where the luxury element comes inside.
Sure.
But the inspiration is that this is built by desire. We do it together. It's community. It's involvement. It's including the people to come on this journey with us. But when we come on this journey, when they come on this journey with us, they're coming on a journey with us. So we're guiding where it is that we're going to step and go.
Yeah.
But we still stay authentic to who we are. So we're inclusive, but we're still authentic.
Sure.
Sometimes people can misunderstand trying to create products for customers, losing yourself. We're saying we will stay ourselves and we will create great products for people and great experiences to the best of our ability. So that's what that's about for us, you know, and that's the drive. And the more we're able to get, you know, it's the people that make up the company, that make up the organization, they're first the brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
And then they take that experience of their authentic self, of their experience, and they give that to the consumer. You know, that's the touch point, right? You engage in the customer. So I'm the custodian of the brand, but you're the custodian of the brand to the consumer.
Sure.
And then the consumer takes the brand, and then they're the custodian to the people that they share word of mouth with, and they share their experiences and you know, what they love about us. So each person, we're just passing the baton, and we're saying, let's do this journey together, but through your experience.
100%.
And through the customers, we try to train our people to the best of our ability to always be authentic, and then basically share beyond that through their experience.
Basically, what I want to add to the brand is maybe more fluidity, more flow,
Okay.
a bit more organization, and making sure that our people are always happy.
Right.
So coming from a brand and communication sort of perspective,
Right.
that's very important. Hence, they need to get to know us, who we are, the people behind it, and
Right.
that they need to feel comfortable enough to reach out to us and correct us along the way, as they have been, and to make sure that we foster a community that stays with us and builds with us. So I'm hoping to add a little bit of that pizzazz in the
Tim.
mix.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you get to know Chase? So let's start there. It's very important.
Chase, as MONBEAU, well, first My Beauty and then MONBEAU was a client of mine. So we worked together in marketing for just over a year now.
Great.
Yeah.
What drags you into this?
I love a good story.
Great.
I love a good story that started from zero and is building up. Those type of projects always thrill me. It's never just joining a corporation that's already done.
Yeah.
So once it gets to that point, imagine the fulfillment you'll feel.
Absolutely.
To say, actually, I was part of the people that built this conglomerate. So I want to be part of that thrill. I love it. I love the journey. So that's what.
She joined right after we opened up LA.
I was like, I'm not getting left behind on this.
They're not only changing names, they're making moves.
I need my visa, please.
They're making moves.
Exactly.
Right.
That's beautiful. And from my side, Fizz, I just want to welcome you, and I think you are a great asset to the company. But I would like to ask you personally, what are the things that you believe that you can improve on MONBEAU?
Well, first of all, less customer complaints.
Beautiful.
Because
Because they don't talk about packages.
no, we'll not. That's been addressed, but yes, that's what
We don't have a great deal of customer complaints.
No.
I mean, honestly, even with our trade values versus, you know, issues that we have, we don't have
we don't.
issues at a high level. Obviously, there are the things that we can improve, but I would not even call them complaints.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I just need them to be happy, though.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
So that's what I aim to improve. Also, because the brand has gone through a rebranding period and phase.
So many of them, yeah.
Yeah, some
Right.
people are still stuck maybe on the older brand.
Correct.
And I want to try to drive the new brand, the clearer brand vision. So everybody is on par. So that's the main thing that I want to do.
Great.
Beautiful.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're moving into our next chapter, and you know, I think everybody's got their own motives for why it is that they're part of the brand. We live this life. We want to make people proud. We want to make ourselves proud. We want to be part of something. And you know, Elvis, from your own personal perspective, you know, what is the driving point for you that, you know, that's moving you forward from this point? I mean, it's a new year. we're exploring different things. What is driving you into the new year? Sometimes people can lack motivation or say, where am I going to find the sauce? Where am I going to find the flavor into the new year? You know. So what is yours?
That. So for me, if I had to start from the genesis of it, that in the process of building MONBEAU, it has taken so much. You know, it has taken so much personally.
Right.
You know, I've lost people.
Right.
I've lost relationships.
Right.
Right? Because when you're trying to build something and you see the vision and you start to see it unfold, you can't go back.
Right.
You know, and what it takes, it's commitment, it's sacrifice, you know, and a lot of it. You know, we've missed out on so many things, whether it's birthday, whether it's appointments of my father in hospital, but we had to stay committed, right? And when you see it becoming something so beautiful and global, this is what you were working for. And you want to see it become more and more and more, right? And giving other people the opportunity to be part of it. That's what drives me now. Not only the revenue, but to bring people and teach them, you know, and contribute to the vision, what it is, and what we've learned through hard times. That is the driving force. Yeah.
Tim?
I might say the same. You know, enjoying that process of meeting different people and discovering talent on different people that we've been hired and people left, and there's new people coming. Those people have been with us on that journey. It's a beautiful thing to see. Also, someone who they don't have talent, and you build it out of them, and they become greater. And from them, also you build that transition. I think it's a beautiful thing to see in different human beings. As one thing, just you've said before, it's impossible to fail if you keep on improving yourself. So by seeing all those things in my own eyes, it's a beautiful thing to see. Like the experience is just, it's amazing. I don't know how other way to describe that, because I've seen it and experienced it. Someone cannot tell me it's impossible. You know, we've done the impossible thing and make it reality. So for me, it does not exist.
So for 2024, I mean, what's the drive? What's driving you? What are you driving towards? Is it more of, you know, obviously you just explained that, you know, you get a level of fulfillment from seeing people grow, seeing people improve. But what's your driving force for 2024? What's your vision? And how do we incorporate that into what it is that we're doing to continue building?
Growth, I can say. Growth of where I am and doing something beyond that, which is an improvement into what I was doing last year and this year. I need to be able to be on different places, a different continent, experiencing something different into my eyes.
You need a new gold chain, huh?
Exactly, yeah. You know, experiencing something different and see other people in the world also what they have, discover more talent into different people. I think that's what I need to do this year.
I think the reason why we went to Beverly Hills to open up our first international space, you know, some people have said, why not continue to build locally, right?
Great.
It's to create that next step, that next frontier of engagement, right?
Yeah.
It's to push that boundary so far out that the space between, as you said, you know, no one can tell you something otherwise.
Yeah.
You've been on that journey and you know what it is that we'll push through. So we've gone that far because, you know, even our flagship store that we built in Oceans Mall, you know, it's a work of art, but we've gone as far as possible with what it is that we've got capacity, within our capacity, to create that open space for the people inside to fill the gap, right? And so that's what that push was, and that's why we're here now. That's what brings us to where it is that we're seated here now. And 2024 is for us to fill that gap of what is your vision and how can you contribute to that and how can you be part of that journey and how can the consumer be part of that journey. We've now created the gap for everybody else to run along with us. And so, you know, you know, Elvis, you know, you share what you've shared, and you know, Etienne, I know, you know, obviously as well yourself, you know, even Privilege and other people along the way, the sacrifices, and that is the reason why, from my perspective, I will always keep on pushing, is because I know how much people have sacrificed in the process. So many people that, you know, we call them the unsung heroes, right? That have contributed for us to be able to get here. And it's for the people that have believed along the way that I feel committed to making sure that we're able to, if they're not proud already, continue to make them proud.
Yeah.
And, well, I mean,
Yeah.
vice versa, you got what I'm saying?
I never had this belief until I'm working for MONBEAU. That the belief is so strong that no way, if you know something, no one can tell you anything wrong. Like, you know it. You can see, I remember back in the day when we were working in COVID, we have to make the sales, but there's no people, but you have to find the people. And once you see the person, you can see, I have to sell the person in front of you. So sometimes you're just talking stuff, you don't even discover what you're saying, but you're saying something amazing. And that thing, it's been existing, it builds so many talents. And it's crazy. It's crazy, it's crazy.
I call it organized chaos.
Great. It's crazy, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be here to keep everybody on their toes, you know?
Yeah.
100%.
Not too much.
Wake up tomorrow and just throw something in the mix there.
Yeah. you can see Trez coming up there with on the skeleton there, you're coming up with the pen and
The blank piece of paper.
gosh, when I see it, I'm like, oh, here's it.
There
What's
it goes
next today?
again.
Oh gosh.
We're
Just take everything, move it. Get rid of that, then it's done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, moving things across, you know. But it's been a very amazing transition into, yeah.
Awesome.
Trying to keep on saying Muscat.
Same time, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you're messing everything up. Why you have to mess everything up?
She just said time. Okay. Okay, let's continue.
Time. She's saying keep it short, you know.
Oh, okay.
No, I think something that I do think is useful is, you know, since, you know, Fez, you're talking about, you know, making sure that we take care of the community. Elvis, you know, again, you're always fighting for the customer. Etienne, you're always fighting for the staff members, you know, to make sure that everybody's good.
Yeah.
I think with the change and with something different, you know, in the small ways that we can maybe give back, I do believe that for the consumers, the people who have been with us for a journey, for a period of time, you know, for the people who didn't get cylinders, you know, you know, we do want to give something back to the consumers as part of this journey growth, you know, and Fez, I mean, I think you can take it from here, Madam Brand for the people.
Well, basically, to keep the community going forward and, you know, making it up to the others and the other people that will join us along the journey.
Right.
What we sort of wanted to do is whoever it is that will purchase our products and share their content with us, the first 1,000 to do so will then be gifted with a sort of tangible reward.
Okay.
In the form of a scent box, and also our older customers as well can
Right.
reach out to us.
I think
as part of that
importantly, the
1,000.
old customers,
Yeah.
that, you know, they can reach out, they can send out send us an email.
Send us an email on info@monbeau.co.za.
Yeah, MONBEAU, MONBEAU.
Well, just I want to ask you this, as you ask, what's the plan for this year? I might ask you the same questions. What's the plan for MONBEAU for this year? Because you're surprising us, you know, we're in Beverly Hills. I don't know what's next, what what is exciting news coming? What are you taking MONBEAU into right now?
Drake said, I let her see the Aston. I let the rest surprise her, right? And that's the key thing, is that we are working at quite a few exciting things. But, you know, from what it is that we've presented, this is the foundation of where we're growing from. And we'll let the remainder be the surprise. We don't want to say too much currently, but we are working at some pretty exciting things. But it's just, you know, really it's more customer-centric this year. It's building those relationships, fostering them, community. That's really what the whole goal of this year is to bring everybody along the journey with us in a more intimate and directed way, and to continue supplying, you know, great product and great experiences through the mediums of, you know, our stores, you know, trying to bring different technologies into the mix, different experiences, etc. So different people, getting people to know certain individuals at a little bit more of a personal level, just some pretty cool stuff. So I'll hold the surprises for now. But I think we do have some pretty cool stuff. And you know, if we're able to achieve what we're trying to do, I do think that everybody will definitely be proud of what they've contributed to.
Yeah.
You know, we got some big dreams, you know.
Yeah. And for those who are joining the company as, you know, new staff people, and what the motive was behind MONBEAU Afrique? What's the slogan that you can put as a time frame, you know, for everybody who's coming to be part of MONBEAU family as we're moving forward this year? Because we started, I know so many things are coming.
Built by Desire is our slogan. Built by Desire, and that's it. We do everything with a desire, with a passion, and we're building. You know, that's it. Growing, building. So Built by Desire is a slogan. I think everything else encapsulates in our saying.
Yeah.
And you know, hopefully we can do a good job at giving people the experience.
Right.
The MONBEAU experience.
Yeah.
The MONBEAU Afrique experience, right?
For sure.
Well,
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a wrap.
looking forward to it. This was fun, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I really enjoyed.
We'll make sure that the people that are all the past customers are taken care of.
Yes, 100%.
We send them something special. You know, they just need to send an email to us, and we'll send them something.
Drop us an
something,
email and we'll action it all out.
We'll definitely send you something as a gratitude token from us.
Yeah.
One of your favorites.
We'll also leave the email address on the caption.
Right.
Yeah, I also want you to say something very great for our consumer, because we globally now, we have people everywhere around the world now.
Yeah. We need to close this thing.
No. I want
The
you to
camera's
say
got your shoe. It's
something
fine.
Something.
They've seen your shoe.
Something.
Let us go.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
No, something.
What?
Something. But our consumer.
But, you know, yeah, drop a bomb.
Do right and kill everything.
There we go.
And Drake stands for do right and kill everything.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's a good way to close.
I'm more of a Ho fan, but yeah.
That's a good way to close.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon. All right, sure.
Awesome. See you guys in the next one.
All right, see you in Dubai. On a
There we
yacht.
go. There we go.
You know.
Excuse me. How do you pronounce the name MONBEAU Afrique?